So we've arrived at the last song of our tanda for Donato in 1942, which is a strange year because the music is slower and it's more sad and it's not necessarily typical Donato in the ways we're used to it. So to illustrate that, I'm going to repeat a few points I made in the previous videos, which will help as a summary here. This Donato is slow and it's sad, it's sorrowful. So especially the first song of the tanda, but also the second and the third. And the third is maybe even more sad in a way because it's about poverty and it's a different kind of sadness than lost love, for example. I find the third song particularly depressing in one way or another, like unlike almost any tango I know, because it's just very in a very tentative way. It's representative of the despair of poverty. And now we've arrived at the fourth song, which also shares a number of these features of the same year, 1942, because it's still the same year. But what's interesting is that this is the first song chronologically of this tanda, and it's of all the four songs here, it's the one that is most similar to earlier Donato. It's different, it's slow, but it's still it sounds kinda not very much, but it sounds more like the typical Donato we all love and know and love. So what we're gonna see here is that this song seems cheerful, but the lyric isn't, which is also true for a lot of the more typical Donato that is played from 1941, 1940, and before. So, but you'll see that even though there's this slow and somewhat sad tone, there is a bit of cheerfulness as well in the music, and I'm going to show you how and why that is how it's designed that way. So one thing I wanted to mention before we actually listen to the song is that this situation with Donato 1942 is comparable, for example, to Rodriguez. So if you listen to Enrique Rodriguez with Moreno in 1941, it's fast music, it's upbeat, it's really good for the milonga because that's way we can alternate between slow music and somewhat faster music and have this like wave movement for dancers. But when you look at 1942 Rodriguez and what comes later, it also definitely slows down. So it's still the same music, it's still the same style, but the function changes because it's slower music. And that's also what you're gonna see here. The difference is that Rodriguez kept recording and Donato stopped. So this is a very strange year in Donato. If you want to learn more about that, please check the first video I made, which is an introduction to this tanda, before I actually start discussing the songs. What we also shall see here is that there are less clear solos than the first two songs. So for example, the violin is like its solo is just much shorter. So we see very much something in transition. So the code word for today, for this video, is transition, because you're gonna hear obviously that this is Donato is kind of looking for a new sound. The music is slower, but it's also still reminiscent of 1941. So let's actually listen to the song now. So this song is called Parece ayer, and that means simply seems like yesterday. So you might be able to guess what the song is going to be about from a title like that. So that's what I tried to say with it's slower. So it's slower than the Donato that came before. It's also kind of sad, right? And that's not to say that the Donato that came before is like really cheerful or anything, because like I say, a lot of songs still have it sounds kind of cheerful, especially with the accordion, but you shall see that most of the lyrics are pretty sad. So if you don't understand the lyrics, you might not pick that up. And what I also think what helps, so this singer is Horacio Lagos, which is yeah Donato's main singer, I would say, and he has like a kind of cheerful voice by himself already. So it also depends on who sings. Because if you take the other singer, Romeo Gavio, the other male singer, I think he's more capable of a certain type of drama. Whereas with Lagos, even if he sings about sad things, then it still sounds kind of light. But listen to this again. This is kind of the tempo. This is a bit more choppy. This is the typical Donato style. It's very bouncy, rhythmical. So that's already a contrast. Starts kind of slow. It's almost like it increases a bit in the bounciness. But compare that, just to show you that this is slower music in a way. Let's just compare it to a song from 1941, so the previous year. Compared to how this one starts. Syncopation. Very sharp rhythm. So that's how I would dance that song. Now this song. Dun, dun. So like I say, this is like Rodriguez 1941 and Rodriguez 1942. It just, the tempo changes, the mood changes. But it's also, it's still almost much different from what we heard in the first two songs, especially the first song. The first song, Tu Confidencia, it's much more sad still, and it's less rhythmical. So it's a song in transition, like I tried to say here. Accordion, bandoneon. It's pretty calm music. And now you get the singer, and I also think the singer has a bit more, this is a bit of an almost, yeah, it's a very fake thing to talk about, but the singer gets more space here, I feel. He gets more space to really be present and slowly phrase the things he wants to sing. Whereas in the previous song, he's also singing, and he gets more or less the same time, literally in the minute, like he gets to sing. But I feel like in 1941 the instruments are a bit more present, and here they disappear bit into the background. That's also typical of what happens in golden age music at some point. The music becomes slower towards 1942, 1943, and the singer becomes more central. What's great about this music is that it's not only about the singer, because the singer is still a part of the orchestra. So that's why it's danceable, because if you only, like in the 50s, there's a lot of examples, if you mostly have the singer and a bit of accompaniment, then it becomes boring to dance to. So this is a nice balance between having a singer like Lagos, in this case, very center stage, but also it's still dance music. So his voice sounds kind of cheerful, right? Well, maybe here a bit less already. Y si es verdad que han puesto olvido aquí en el fondo de mi copa. So what I wanted to highlight here is that I guess what also makes it a bit more cheerful than, for example, the first song is this. You hear a quite cheerful piano. And here, I think bandoneon. Aquí en el fondo de mi copa, yo quiero ver su risa loca, que es un castigo por el alcohol. Parece ayer que te cruzaste por mi vida, yo el horror de desengaños y heridas. So it's quite the other instruments that like sing together with him is relatively cheerful. And that's also representative of Donato, what he does with his orchestra. Again, it's something in transition, like he's looking for more drama, but it's also still relatively light. But this song, like the lyrics, is about a guy, seems like yesterday. So he's thinking about his lost love. And he's trying to, which is very typical in tango and also typical of those times when there was no such thing as mental health. Guys would just go to the bar and just get drunk. So that's what happens in this song. What I like a lot about this song is that it's lyrical, it's romantic, it's sensitive, but it's still danceable in the sense that it's quite, the rhythm is always there. So let's translate a bit of the lyrics here. Y si es verdad que han puesto olvido aquí en el fondo de mi copa. Y si es verdad que han puesto olvido aquí en el fondo de mi copa. So it's something like, if it's true that like forgetting can be found here in the bottom, on the bottom of my glass. Yo quiero ahogar su risa loca, que es un castigo con el alcohol. So if it's true, which is previous translation, if it's true that you can find, yes, what's the word, olvido, oblivion, something like that, but it sounds very literary. Here in on the bottom of my glass, then the rest is, yo quiero ahogar su risa loca, que es un castigo con el alcohol. So I want to drown her crazy love. So love in the sense of haha, which is a punishment with this booze, pretty much. So he wants to drown her memories in his booze. So that's something you see a lot in tango lyrics. And then he goes on to actually remember her. So I think the booze is not working. This is beautiful. So he's describing this. So this is not just about Donato. This is about tango music in general. But here the singer is describing the memories of her, and then listen to what this accordion bandoneon, in this case accordion Donato, is doing to reinforce what he's saying. Piano. The rhythms in the background. You can clap on that. It's for you to dance to. Okay, singer stops. Violin. Violin and bandoneon. It's kind of cheerful. And it's a bit more, bit less cheerful, maybe. But yeah, it's a constant mix between. It sounds kind of cheerful, but it's also sad. The lyrics are sad. It's really pretty music. And yes, that's very representative of everything I discussed for Donato 1942, which is a very unknown year. The only thing I can say is play this music. It's great music. Fortunately, Donato stops after this. He stops recording, kind of disappears. Then he comes back with a few more songs at the end of the Golden Age in a totally different style. So it's not really interesting to us. But yeah, I hoped I could expand your knowledge, your perspective a bit on this music. And I also hope it was useful in general for understanding tango music, because there's so many things here, like the way I was describing the instruments, that you're gonna hear in every orchestra. They all do it in a different way, but the logic is often similar. So that's what I wanted to say.